Okay, so I already have sunscreen on. I am going to I usually do my brows first. There, so they can set. And with my brows, I always use edge control. I use edge control. And that keeps my brows down. Right, story time. So I'm thinking I should start at the beginning. Story time on how being fired got me flying. There we go. There's the title. Story time on how being fired began my flying career. And this is an inspirational story because you never know what life is leading you towards. So, in the early 2000s, this might have been 2004, 2005, I worked at a department store. And I worked at a department store in the cosmetics section. So I had actually worked at the benefit counter in Macy's, but one side was benefit and the other side was Laura Mercier. And that was my first real job because my dad didn't want me to work. He always would say, "You don't have to." Now, in high school, I definitely could not work. My parents wouldn't let me work. They said my job was school. But college and thereafter, they said you can if you want to, but you can ask us for whatever you want, which has its perks and its drawbacks. So I decided I was working at my dad's office as the head receptionist, which I renamed myself. I believe I was like the lead something something. You know how people will create new titles for what they do. So I might have been like people specialist, lead people specialist at my dad's office. And I was tired of that because yeah, it was nice. My dad was the boss, so I had all the perks, but I didn't care to work in an office. I knew because I had worked in my dad's office that I did not want to have fluorescent lighting every day. I did not want to go and talk by the water cooler. I did not want to hang out and go get a coffee. I didn't want any of that. In fact, I always knew that I wanted an occupation where I didn't have to check into the same place every day. So I still had a few hours at my dad's office, but I knew I wanted to get into skincare and or makeup. So, a friend of mine's mother actually was the one that told me that the counters were hiring, the makeup counters were hiring. And I thought, oh, that's great. I mean, I didn't care what counter I was hired at in the department store. It was the fact that I was in the cosmetics department. So, I went to Macy's, I got an application, I filled it out, and this was in the early 2000s. Pretty quickly, you would get a call back. It's not like now where you may be waiting a long time to hear back. You could hear back that same day or that next day to be hired for a job. So I was called back within 3 days and asked for a day to have the interview. And I was so excited because it was the first time that I was choosing to direct myself somewhere. I was choosing to work in a place that I wanted to be. I wasn't just out getting a job. I was out getting a job in something I liked, in makeup. I knew I wanted to continue, and I thought that maybe I would continue to be a professional makeup artist because I wanted to get into fashion and modeling. But the truth is, if you want to get into fashion and modeling, just get into fashion and modeling. So I showed up at the interview in a brand new button down shirt and some beautiful tailored pants and like kitten heels, a soft makeup look, a small hoop earring. I was so excited to have this interview. And I'm always excited about interviews. I always look forward to interviews because I'm a conversationalist. I'm great at speaking. I love to talk to others and I love that skill. So I'm never looking at an interview as something negative. So the interview was in front of Macy's, like in the lobby or the hallway of the mall in the seating area. So there was the seating area, which consisted of one big couch, two chairs on either side, and big plants. So I was there early, about 10 minutes early, and I was greeted by the account executive for this Macy's benefit counter. And she was a rockabilly. I don't know if you know what a rockabilly is, but a rockabilly, they dress like they're from the 1950s with poodle skirts and pin curls and bright red lipstick. And they're almost like time travelers. And she was very joyous. She just was very joyous, probably because she was a little off, but that's okay. That's sometimes how it happens. So I greeted her, she greeted me, she shook my hand, she sat down, and she started to explain to me what would entail in working at that counter. And I was so excited. I was listening intently, intentionally. So as she's talking, she then shares with me or asks me your typical questions. Why did you want to work at the counter? How do you know about the brand? The truth was, I didn't really know about the brand. I was aware of Benefit, but this is the early 2000s. Benefit now isn't what it was 20 years ago. Nothing is what it was 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, Benefit was known for its Dr. Feelgood, and it was known for I think their premier product that they were known for was Dr. Feelgood, which is similar to the Danessa Myricks balm, universal balm. It had cornstarch. It was kind of like it was a smoothing balm that you put on your face. The range of colors wasn't as extensive as it is now. Most of the time, and again, this is in the early 2000s, so let's put this at 2004. I was about the extent of the darkest shade in the winter. In the summer, I would have to mix it up. But she invited me to look at the shade range. And then during the interview, which wasn't too long, it might have been 30 minutes, 40 minutes tops. It could have been longer, but I felt that it was a short time. And she handed me a pen and said, "Okay, Hope." "Sell me this pen." And I love here's the other thing. I love infomercials. I used to get up early to watch infomercials when I was a kid, kid. On Saturday, infomercials would come on. Ron Popeil's like rotisserie chicken cooker, the Food Saver Express, all of these things. And I love them because I love that you could sell with a story, with it looked like a show, but the whole thing was just a ploy to invite you to buy. So, she handed me the pin, and I was so excited, and I took the pin, and I said, "This pin would be great for you," because and I turned the pin into something else. So, I believe I turned the pin into a pin eyeshadow. This eyeshadow perfectly complements the irises of your eyes, and it's so easy. You see, you can just do this and use your finger, you have the perfect look. This is why you need this pin. I did something like that, and she was impressed, like, "That was great, I would buy right now." And we laughed, and she said, "Yeah, you're hired, and all you need to do is go into the head of the cosmetics department and go and fill out all paperwork and discuss your hourly pay." Now, again, this is 2004. And I was all it was like I share that it was a dream come true because outside of working for my father or for anyone in my family, it was my first job and it was the first thing that I chose to do. I didn't just get a job to get a job. I chose a place. It was a department store that I shopped at and I knew people and I chose to work in a department that interested me, the cosmetics department. And then I had gratis, which means you get free makeup every 3 to 6 months and then you get your discount. It was like perfect, especially me being I think 20 at the time. What's up, T? So I was 20 at the time, hired by the makeup counter. Thank you, T. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I went to sign all the papers to finalize my position working at the makeup counter at this department store. And so I started, thank you, T, for the freestyle. I loved it. I it wasn't it was something where it was within my realm. Thank you, T. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't have to get up at 3 a.m. You know, a department store typically opens at 8, so there wasn't anything really early. Um, Thank you, T. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for all your support. I really appreciate how every time you come in, you come and support. So I appreciate you very much. Yeah, it was cool. I was with a bunch of other young ladies. Now there is a little cattiness, but I can deal with that. I have thank you, T. I have many sisters, and I'm not too pressed off of girl antics. I'm very comfortable with women. I love being around women. If there's any nonsense, I can cancel that out and I can squash that. We can have a conversation and it can be done, but I'm not going to do that cattiness. So I thought. So I'm working at the makeup counter, and then about a year and a half into it, I realized I wanted more. And I wanted more because it was nice, but I was 20 years old at the time. I was doing well at the counter as far as sales, but if I wanted to go more into fashion, then I figured just go into fashion. You don't have to try to be a makeup artist to go into fashion. I am there's 5 of us. I am number 4 of 5, T. So I made a decision. Listen, do I want to continue at this makeup counter? Do I want to continue in retail or do I want to do something else? Because there's always that time to ask yourself, what else is there for me? Do I want to stay doing this or do I want to challenge myself to grow or try something else? And I told myself, well, I'll just do something else. Again, at 20, I'd put in maybe a year and a half into this, and I really enjoyed it, but there was more that I wanted to do. So I put in my 2 weeks resignation. Thank you, T, for liking the live. I put in my 2 weeks resignation to leave the makeup counter at the department store. Not even a week later, I think it might have been a day or 2 later, one of the counter managers from Lancome approached me about being a makeup artist for the company directly. So when you go into any department store, those people are employees of the department store. They don't work for Mac or Estee Lauder or Lancome. They work for the department store. But then there are others that actually work for the brand. And I had worked as a makeup artist before for this counter manager at Lancome. She knew my work as a makeup artist and she also knew I knew how to sell. So she approached me and said, "Hey, would you like to come on board and work directly with the brand? And then your hourly is higher as well as you get to travel to the other stores and you work directly for the brand." And I thought, absolutely. Now this was perfect because I had already chose to step away from working in the department store because I wanted something more. And when I did that, more came. More came. It was almost immediate. More came, and it was perfect because working directly as a makeup artist for the company meant I had a significantly increased hourly rate. I would travel to the different counters and you might have heard this story, T, in the state that I was in, and I got to make up my hours, so it hit everything I wanted. I had time freedom, I had freedom of movement because I wasn't actually at one location. I would go to different locations throughout the state, and it was an increase in pay. So I really liked it. So I began doing this and going to different stores throughout California to work as their makeup artist, like a regional makeup artist. Now, that's what you want. What? The time freedom, the freedom of movement. You just have to be diligent about what you want because what you want is possible. And also understand when I talk to you, T, I tell you it's possible because it is. But if someone hasn't had it, or if they don't think it's possible to have freedom of movement, freedom of time, increase in pay, then they may uh, discourage you, or they may not even believe it's possible. I always believe it's possible. I'm the craziest because I believe anything is possible. Especially after traveling, I know what's possible. Hey! T, this is, wait a minute, I'm just bringing it up. This is another live creator that I jumped into her live earlier this morning. She's based out of NOLA, and I just enjoyed her live. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I told her I come on live on this account as well as my other, but I do come on and do get ready with me on this live. I'm giving my story on how I became a flight attendant, but it was actually because I was fired. I am too. And same with T. Lady T is in the chat. She's been just under 6 months in Vietnam. Um, and, I met her in my lives, and it's really cool, so we're all connected. So, I started working for the brand. In fact, I should probably link some of the things I'm using. I'm gonna put on my let's see, add products. Okay, so as I'm adding this, I'll continue to talk. Boom. Let me pin both of these. So I started working as a makeup artist. It was very cool. This was early 2000s. This was like 2004. So as I said, it was like 42, 47. It was just about $50 an hour. And this is in 2004. I was 21, 20. It was perfect. It was perfect. Oh, yeah. Let me add you. So I started working as a makeup artist, and you can see my tan. I would take off my sweater, but I'm not even gonna say that because I don't want to call it into my existence. Started working as a makeup artist. It was great money, but it was more so I'm doing makeup, I'm having fun, I'm traveling throughout the state. I get to make my hours. It was like the best. I've made it. I've made it. I have made it. And months in, it might have been 6 months to just under a year, I was working at the counter and I decided to take a lunch with my then boyfriend and just go hang out. Now, the problem is when we went to hang out at someone's house, you're in your early 20s, you are really just hanging out. You're just there, not doing anything, talking, watching movies. But I was actually on the clock and I was chilling. I was so confident that I was hanging out for like 3 hours. I took like an hour, 2 hour and 45-minute lunch break. And I share that because it was funny, but I didn't even think twice about it. I was like, of course I would take a 3 hour lunch break. Of course. Why wouldn't I? I'm going. I'll be back. I'll be back when I'm back. So I came and I walked in. Okay, I always set my makeup in short layers. So I added concealer, and this is how the story started. I started working at the benefit counter. Half of the counter was benefit, the other half was Laura Mercier. So I was put on to the translucent powder from Laura Mercier 2004. I've stuck with it since. There are other powders that are comparable, possibly even better, but once I find something, especially a staple product, like a loose powder, I'm gonna stick with it. I don't really need to go and try, "Is this as good?" This is what it is, but I'm sharing this because I put on concealer and then I set it, and then I continue with my makeup. So I take a little of the loose powder. Yeah, you stick with the staples. I take some of the loose powder because I like a pretty fresh, like healthy, glowing, rich skin type look. I don't like caked on makeup. You're not going to see me with lashes. I mean, unless I'm doing a photo shoot or something. But outside of that, I just like my skin to look really healthy. So I go in with a really thin padding and I set my eyes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's from living a good life. I set my eyes with the powder and then I continue on with my makeup. Okay. So we've set our eyes with powder. So back to me taking a 3 hour break. I was out with my boyfriend. We were with friends. We were just laughing. We were really doing nothing. We were really just having fun, laughing. And I looked like, oh, shoot, I have to go back to the counter. So um, I like to use a lot of blush. So I usually put blush on right after my concealer. So I went back to the department store that I was working in 3 hours after I left, and I tried to just walk back to the counter like, "Mm, mm, hi." And the counter manager was there and she was like, Hope, what are you doing? I said, "Oh, what do you mean? I'm here." She was like, "Where have you been?" I'm a Sagittarius and I don't know if that has to do with me making up stories, but I'm not great at lying. I do not like lying. I don't think anyone who says I hate liars, well, no one likes a liar. No one enjoys anyone lying to them, first of all. Second of all, I'm not great at it. It's just easier for me to cop out and say what I did. And I was like, I started, my stomach felt bad. I just started stuttering. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And this is actually from Dollar Tree. You see, I do have my staples. Most of my staples are are investment, I guess, investment makeup, but a cream makeup, and this is from Be Pure. And it's just the cutest pink blush, which I love. Yeah, so I walked in, she was like, "What are you doing here?" I started to stutter, and she was like, "Hope, go home." And I said, "Well, why?" She was like, "Go home, Hope." And I thought, "Thank you, because I love a pink blush, and we're gonna do so much more pink, because I love pink blush. I just love blush, but I love pink blush." So, I took my brushes, I got to my car, and I kinda laughed because I know when I do these things that are just off the rail. To take a 3-hour lunch break already takes a bold ass person like me, but then I'm going to laugh because I thought, "Who in the world is taking a 3 hour" like, I just left. I just left. I just left. So, I was let go from that region. And you know what? I didn't get upset. With when anytime these things happen, I don't get upset. I don't cry. It's just like, "Oh, okay." And I share that because it led me to the next big chapter in my life. Yeah, had to well, I didn't have to. I had to because I took a 3-hour break, but I didn't have to do that either. Um, so when that concluded, okay, let me show you the other pinky blushes because I have a bunch. And these are actually all from that same tree. Um, yeah. And I know that. I am extremely positive, but at the same time, that's how it happens. I don't see this story as negative because it taught me don't take 3-hour breaks. I mean, you can, I guess, if you own the company, but if you want to still maintain employment at that place, don't take a 3-hour break and try to sneak back in like nothing happened. I didn't cry. I was just like, "Oh, okay." I ended up working at a restaurant. I went and I got a position as a hostess. Now, again, I was like 21. I was very, very young. And from that restaurant, which was a restaurant that I loved, I met the owner of another restaurant. He came in, and when I greeted him, I said, "Oh, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're dining with us. I'm always happy." And the guy was like, "I need you at my restaurant. I need you to greet people the way you just greeted me. You're hired." He just hired me on the spot. That's another consistent thing. Yeah, hosting at restaurants, especially for pretty girls, it's a good way in to meet people and to like it's for any age, but this is all when I was quite young. This is between 19 and 22. So from there, I'm going to leave the restaurant I'm at to go to this new restaurant because it was still being constructed. He was, yeah, being, I mean, it's me. I get it. I get it. I would hire me on the spot too. They took me from one restaurant to the other. So at that other restaurant, I was running the food out, and that is where I met a girl. And she was running food with me. I wasn't a server, I wasn't a hostess, I was like a food runner. And she had said, "Hope, um, I'm going to go apply for this flight attendant for this airline." And I was like, "Oh, that's so exciting," because I remember a few months prior, I was already working and on trying to leave. And when I meant leave, I didn't mean move out of my parents' house because I was still living with my parents. My parents never said exactly breadcrumbs. My parents were never the ones to say, at 18 you got to go get your stuff. No. The US is the only place where it's a drawback to live with your family. Everywhere else in the world, and I would say outside of the US and most of Europe, Western Europe, um, it is the norm to live with your parents until you're married. It is normal, it is cultural, it is not out of the ordinary. Even to go to school and then move back in to rearrange your life, that's a privilege, and it is something that most people do outside of the US. So again, yeah, you go Asia, the India, most of the entire continent of Africa, you're home until you get married, but why else would you be anywhere else? Because the belief is that nucleus keeps everyone together. You can help your parents, you can cook for your parents cook for you. It's a like a symbiotic relationship. So I was living at home. My parents always said, just live here, go to school, figure it out. My dad, and I speak about my dad a lot, T knows this. I'm showing you these things because I'm going to mix them up and put them on my face as I'm talking. Now, these are all, again, from Dollar Tree, um, but I love a pigmented liquid blush. Now, since I was a makeup artist, pigmented blushes, it really doesn't matter the company. If you find one, great. Um, Foundation, the things that I invest in are like foundations, mascara, eyeliners, my loose or pressed powders. Those, for the most part, I invest in, but these are all from where I said earlier. I don't want to keep saying it because sometimes, yeah. But I will mix all of these because I really love a pink. That's right, a pink, rosy, healthy flush. And you can use these on your eyes, you can use them on your lips. In fact, I will put one on my lips right now just so you can see, and it will set. Me too. And liquid blush stays really well. Okay, I will do a liner, but I like to let this sit because I'll let it sit and it will attached to my lips. Then I'll go in with a liner and a lipstick. So as the lipstick wears, this will be the bottom shade. You see how that works? You see how that works? Uh-huh. Okay. So I don't even have any foundation on. I have concealer on, I have primer on, I have a little setting powder, and I have my blush on. Um and I'm just reading a comment off of the long form app because I stream on the other app too. Is it better for children to grow up in an unhappy home with a I don't know. I didn't grow up in an unhappy home. I don't think it's a great thing for a child to grow up in a unhappy anything. I think sometimes we may just have this idea of how a child should see life. As an adult, we think in adult ways. Kids just want their juice box, they want to be held, they wanna be listened to, they wanna play, they want a safe place, like, I don't know if kids are saying, "I wish, my mom and dad didn't." I don't know. I also have not birthed any children. I'm sure my nieces and nephews may say that I'm somewhat of a figure that they look to in a certain way, but I'm not gonna speak on something that I don't directly have any knowledge of. Okay, now, what else are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna do a little contour. So this girl told me, and I haven't put any foundation or anything on because I like to underpaint. So I do a lot of underpainting and then I go in with my foundation. But I do like to underpaint and just find the shadows in my face like that. I really like the shape of my nose, so I just make it a bit of a button nose. Okay, so what happened? This girl told me, "Oh, I'm going for this interview." And I thought, "Oh, that's great. I always wanted to fly." And I think I had applied online a few months before, but something happened. And it is that story of this girl told me about the interview, and we both had the interview on the same day in Washington, D.C. And I was successful, she was not. I never saw her again. She never came back to the restaurant. She never, like, I never saw the girl again. So, me being fired by that one job is what led me to starting my career as a flight attendant. And it was such an easy transition because all of this was within, I think, months. But now I'm seeing that it was all perfectly placed. Doesn't that look nice? Now I'm just gonna put my a little foundation over that, and that's it because I'm not gonna do that serious of a look today. I am looking for my shimmer. Here we go. So I put a little shimmer right in the button area of my nose. And so by the time I got to that point of flying, I was 22. I was ready to go. I had no reservations. I wanted to leave. I wanted a challenge. I wanted to see the world. I wanted my independence. I wanted to figure life out in the way that I wanted to figure it out. I did not want to continue with the mundane way of I'm just gonna go and work at TGI Fridays and get an apartment somewhere locally and go on from there. I did not want any of that. So when I started flying, it was perfect, and it also was something that I wasn't second guessing at all. When I was hired and asked to come to work for the company, my thinking was, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to wait. I am not going to hope I make it through training. The whole time, I knew that I am going to be successful in flight attendant training. I'm going to be successful as a flight attendant on reserve. I'm going to be successful as a junior flight attendant. I'm gonna make this work for me, and that's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I did. It was never, "How is this gonna work?" It was always, "This is working. This is what I'm going to do." Okay, so that is a really simple, easy look. I also highlighted my brows because, again, I like a very dewy look. And then I take my Laura Mercier loose powder. I put some, I actually have another puff that I'm going to use because now I really want to set my makeup. So I keep patting my loose powder in. It just gives it does just give the best blur, but it just is the best setting powder and always has been. So some people, you can never overdo with this powder because it's so finely milled that I always set my whole face. My intention is always to put it in certain areas, but I love a setting powder. So I will take the setting powder and like set my eyelids. Because if I don't wear much makeup, I will just use like a concealer and some blush, and then I will set what I have like this. But it does look like a filter. That's so crazy. The other story, and I don't know, I probably won't have time, um, is the story of when I was first based in London, me landing, and that whole story. But, like, especially on this account, it's just me talking to my former self as a flight attendant or talking to other flight attendants or travel enthusiasts or people who are intrigued because aviation is just something that's in you. Um, it could also be hospitality because hospitality is customer service, but on a whole nother level. Because when you travel, I love the finish of this powder. I always love the finish of the Laura Mercier powder. It just, it's just the best finish. Um, and I don't even wanna do any eyeshadow. The only thing I will do is just a wash of color. So I'm just gonna take this neutral shadow and with this brush, do a back and forth wiping motion. Again, I've already set my lids with my loose setting powder, but then I go in with this shadow and I just do a back and forth wiping motion. This brush is great for that. And if I want whatever's on the other side, because I have this double-sided eyeshadow brush, whatever's left over, I will just do this to define my eye. I don't know, but it's probably like a deeper brown. And there we go. Something simple and easy. Again, I don't know what's on this brush. I just say whatever's on the brush, whatever's there, I put in my crease. Thank you. Okay, so is it Jadalyn? Jadalyn? I think I said it right. I pride myself at knowing accents and knowing how to say people's name off of the first try. Exactly, I know. I am something special. I am something special. So, yeah, and I wanted to say I always hear that response of I have children or I'm the only one raising my children. There's several people, pilots and flight attendants both, that have that. Most people in the world do, and it doesn't impact their life as much as you may believe. But it's like with anything, until you're in that industry, you wouldn't know how people would make it work. How are you supposed to make it work? There's people with even younger kids. But I know with me, flying was a dream come true. Me doing makeup. See, I think I know what it is. I had taken this. Yeah, you should. I know there's quite a few hiring. The thing is, why not? I mean, it is you have the most amount of time freedom, once you can hold a schedule, but there's many moms that they don't travel, like, overnight. So let's say you're based in New Orleans, you would check in at 8 a.m., fly New Orleans to Chicago, drop the people off, fly back from Chicago to New Orleans, and you'd be done for the day. Like, it doesn't have to be I didn't really like day trips because I'm without kids. I'm a single person. My goal to fly was to see the world, and I saw the world, and I've lived all over the world, and I've learned languages, and I've done all of these things. And I heard when I was in your live, you said, "Oh, how many have you been here?" Yeah, but I've also been there 60 times. And I went, one of my best friends, her family is based out of New Orleans. So when we went to Mardi Gras, we were there with one of the crews and we went to the balls and it wasn't just you go. That's the point. That's the point of me coming on here talking. And I'll share with you, that's why I even left flying. My life is the example. So I shared with you I was fired, it got me into flying. I knew I was gonna live in London since I was little. I knew I was gonna live in Paris since I was a little girl. Now, I didn't know how, I just knew it would happen. It came through me being a flight attendant. When my sister graduated college, I said, "Just pack a bag." Actually, you don't even have to pack a bag. Meet me at the airport. We'll pick something off of the departures board and we'll go. And I had set aside 10,000 just to take her away for a week. Like, I did that for another I've lived so fully that it is my challenge, especially as a woman, because so many women haven't been able to have this experience. So many women have not, women before me. I believe, because I'm 42, I believe I'm the first one, and I'm one of 5 girls. We are the first women who've actually been able to choose. Our mothers could, but not really. Women really, their independence came within the past 40 years. It wasn't, what was it, 1976, 74, that a woman could go and open a bank account without her brother, without her husband, without her dad. So I take it as a serious goal to live fully for other women or men, but this is how I show up. So if I inspire someone, then that's the point. The reason of me taking early retirement from flying was number 1, I I wanted to. I did it for 15 years. My entire 20s and most of my 30s were really my entire 20s and 30s were traveling the world, living wherever I wanted, not living here because my cousin says, "No, I wanna move to London." "Alright," transferred to London. I wanna move here. Okay, go. I like, what's the other option? If the other option is just to hope that I can do it, no. My name is hope. Exactly. Any age is the perfect age to be a flight attendant because any age is the perfect age to travel. Any age is the perfect age to travel. Now, as a traveler who has been to over 70 countries, I do believe travel done well is a young person's sport just because it takes a lot out of you. You usually need time. And most people don't want to have that much time on their vacation. They want to get there, see what they have to see, and then go back. No, you have to rest. You actually have to build in days to rest. You have to build in traveling takes a lot out of you. It's loud, there's movement, you're on in unfamiliar places, you're hearing different things. You may eat something that doesn't make you feel good, and then that changes everything. But traveling is always the best thing you can do for yourself in any way. The reason why I believe I'm so expansive in my thinking is because there's so many ways to live, and I've seen it. So I don't think there's only one way to live. There's only one way to do this. There's every way to do it. And I respect any way that you choose to do it. But the point is to choose to do it. All of my content, especially on this page, is talking to myself as a flight attendant, talking to aspiring flight attendants, talking to current flight attendants, because as a speaker now, I crave those conversations, and I crave conversations because I speak a lot online, I speak in schools, I travel and speak at organizations, my TED Talk, all of those things. It was another thing that I aspired to do. I don't like boring. Most people to me are boring, and they're boring because, number 1, you don't really believe that you can do it. Secondly, there's too many people around you, and this has happened to me, where people will say, "I don't even know why you're doing that. I wouldn't wanna try to do that. I think you should go and do something else. Are you making money from this? How much did they pay you for this? When will you" like, if you are crazy enough and to do something without the expectancy of money, you'll make it. Because most people are gonna be stopped because of money. And to be honest, as long as you have a place to stay, like you have a safe place to stay, and you'll see this from musicians, like I was in my room making song. If you got a place to stay, you're okay. It's a little bit different if you're in a shelter. But I didn't know I was gonna stay on this live this long. I'll share why I chose to leave flying. I chose to leave because I felt I had mastered it. Look at the blush. I felt I had mastered flying. Now, you top out with your pay with flying at 14 years. I took early retirement my 15th year. I had lived in Paris, I'd lived in London, I'd lived in New York, I was currently living in Hawaii. My first base was DC. I'd been to every place I wanted to go to, not once, probably 100 times, probably more than that. I had gone to Nolans Mardi Gras. I did like all of these things that I've checked off. What else is there to do? See another country? I can actually go and see another country, but I've fulfilled this contract. And it's that trusting of myself, which is what I speak about all the time. The trusting of yourself. I trusted myself. I could live anywhere, I could have any schedule. I could fly to Paris once a month, and then that's it, have the rest of the month off. This is why I shared with you with mothers, they love this because the flexibility of their time. But so what? I've done that. Matter of fact, most flight attendants would never have my career because there are no international bases anymore. I think they're coming back for certain companies, but I wanted to live outside the country for not like 6 months, like, "I'm going to school." No, I wanna be fully immersed in another way of life, a different society, social standard, everything. I did that for several years, several. When I say several, over 5, under 10. What else can I do with my life? I know I have a gift of speaking, and also with everything that I've seen, I crafted into something uplifting. That was the next thing. Now, I also had deaths on the plane. That was a whole nother existential crisis. And with my TED Talk, I talked about my emergency landing, which changed everything in life. When you are faced with how quickly life will change, like when the pilot calls you and says, "We have to make an emergency landing," anything that you're bothered about, someone not calling you, a bill, that goes out the door. And I was the head flight attendant, so I was the one that had to respond and take all of this into account. And I did it, and I did it well because we're trained well and I'm a leader. But at that point, why do I want to be on a plane if this could happen again? That was really my thought. If this could happen again, would I want it to happen again? And I had also gotten to the point where, yeah, I was kinda just tired. I love hotels, I love all of that, but again, I did it from 22 to 37. I also don't limit myself. I know there's more I can do, and I also left during COVID. So when I made the decision, hold on, because this is a get ready with me. Oh, was it on my side? Sometimes my Wi-Fi does that. Hold on. Okay. Line my lips, and then there is a color that I was wearing earlier. I haven't even put on mascara or anything. This is I love pinks. Um, so my emergency landing changed a lot for me. The emergency landing also put me into a place to dream again, and dream as far as like, what else can I do with my life? What other what other chapters can I have in my life? Like, um, yeah, it's called the emergency landing you need, and you can put it in hope, emergency landing, TED, it'll come up. That's when I had shaved my head. Like, I go through all these things. I think it was also a change in my life because I gave my TED Talk. and my birthday was the following month, and then my dad died that following month. So there was a bunch of stuff that happened that year that I gave my TED Talk, which was a real high. And even with my dad dying, it taught me, number 1, that this is how it goes. This is how this thing called life goes. It does go. I refuse, and I've been that story of, like, I'm not waiting on anyone. I'm like the plane. I gotta go. That's alright. It's not a loss. I gained so much. I gained so much, and I tell people this. I've the reason why I flew was because of my dad, and he taught us how to travel, and he was a pilot in the army before we came, and a Vietnam vet. So thank you, but I was left with so much. I don't see anything. I can see the benefit of everything. Not saying everything is great, but I can see the benefit. The benefit is when you die, you want people to miss you. If you die and no one misses you and they say good riddance, I'm glad they gone. That's a lesson. And I know people. I've flown with people where they passed away and a poster was up in the domicile, which is like the flight attendant office, and people were glad that they were gone. Me too, as rude as they were, like, you were not a nice person. Um, when I talk about, like, showing women or just anyone, someone who looks like me or doesn't look like me, to try. When I applied to be a flight attendant, I already knew I was going to get it. That's the thing, that deciding, like it's mine. It's not, are they going to hire me? Of course they are. I'm an asset. I'm a benefit. They need me. But I remember a friend of mine just had a baby when she was like 19, 18 or 19. And we used to kick it all the time and go out and party. And she said, well, I don't know why you want to do that. You won't be paid much. And I was like, I see, too many people are thinking about money as the trade-off. I'm not thinking about that. Look at me. Listen to me. You got me on a plane going around the world. I can go anywhere in the world for free. I'm out of here. I know why you are saying that because we would hang out and go to the club. And now you got a baby. You got to stay home. Now I'm in the skies. I'm gone. That's it. What are we doing? I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm going to explore. I'm going to become fluent in languages. There's men all over the world. They waiting for me, baby. Got to go. Got to go. And it's not just about men because men are great, whatever. I'm the greatest. Um, I will leave you in a second, and that's the next piece of content I will make. I will leave. I will leave a career. I will leave a past version of me. I will leave a man. Like, don't I and every man I think knows that about me. I think everyone knows that about me. I'm out of here. I will leave. Why? And it's not even about replacing someone. It's about my experience in life. Maybe I could be missing out. Maybe I could be missing out because I've yet to find that person and start a family. I don't know. I feel like I have family all over the world of people that care for me and respect me and love me, but I will leave your ass. Are you crazy? You think I'm going to watch this. Watch this. I'm out of here. And the craziest thing is I will leave. You won't even know I've been planning an exit. Most of the time, it's the truth. I might have had a conversation with you because if I'm in a relationship, which if I'm in a relationship, I am committed. But most of the time I'm not because it's hard for me to get into a relationship and really easy to get out. It's really easy. I'm Hope. I'm me. Where do you think I'm gonna sit around here and no, I'm all over the world. Okay? No, my experience is for me, baby. You will get left. And that's out of love for me. This isn't out of a malicious way of thinking. This is actually because I love myself enough to give myself what I need when I need it. And sometimes that means giving myself the freedom to get my ass away from you forever. I probably have people in this world that are like, "Man, I really wish I could see Hope again, but she moved the country out of the country, she changed her number, I can't ever contact her." Yeah, I've done that. Sometimes I like to leave you with, like, that story of the elusive Hope. Yeah, and detachment, I speak about that on my other page. Detachment, I had to practice daily as a flight attendant. If you don't have to practice detachment, you're attached to everything. I had to detach from my favorite restaurant or friends or family or a language or I was constantly leaving things because it felt comfortable, which means I can leave anything. I would practice that with, my favorite sweatshirt, which I talk about all the time. It's this cashmere sweatshirt. They had a pop-up in Soho in New York, and it was a cashmere sweatshirt with kangaroo pockets. Hold on, where's my liner? There it is. And, it was the best, but darn it, that's okay. But I don't get too attached to things, so I purposely gave it to a friend, she wanted it, and it was like, yeah, I can practice giving away things I really love just to almost prepare yourself for that because things do leave in some way, somewhat. Let me pen this because I do love this liner. Um, and it is selfish, but the point was to be selfish. The point was to I've really been able to live like a man in the sense that I could always go where I want, be where I want, buy what I want. I could do what I want. I can leave you. I'm not trying to see, are you going to marry me? There might have been times, but I also have that in my bio. You could go and see and this comes from here's three things. Post on this app because you never know who's watching. Tell your truth because I made a piece of content on how I turned down marriage proposals, two of them, and I was contacted by the Times, the New York Times, and interviewed for an article which you can see in that thing that is on my top of my page. I won't say too much cuz the app will do some stuff. But that is documented and but here's the thing. Can I call you Jay? Or no, I'm gonna call you by your full name, Jadalyn. I actually had a little hesitation. Okay, Jay. I had a little hesitation to do that art Jade. Okay, Jade. Okay. To do that article because I was thinking, well, the individuals that I said no to their proposals are going to see this. And I know how hurtful that could possibly be. But it was also helpful to other young women because I've had friends where I knew, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you getting married? And I remember one friend saying, Hope, I don't want to be alone. And I thought, We're 21. Like, how do you know you're gonna be alone for the rest of your life? You're 21. Like, just to I think a lot of women say yes to the proposal because number 1, they don't think it'll happen again, but they don't trust themselves. You know when it's an extreme yes. You know that. Like, when I left flying, it was like, "Yeah, it's time," and it actually was with me maybe a year or 2 before I actually said no. It was COVID and my final, emergency landing that just said, "Okay, it's time." But to immediately think, "This won't happen again, he won't propose again, maybe someone won't propose to me again," but, it's I never saw it in that way. But I also saw it as like, I saw a great example with my parents of a working relationship, of people who talked, of people who had affection, of people who had disagreements but used their words. They weren't popping each other upside the head with pans and baseball bats. I didn't see any of that. Okay. I only saw my mom and my dad was the sole provider. My mom supported all of her children as far as like doing our hair, and she was wonderful. That takes a lot of energy. But because I know that's possible, if I don't see it with me and you, it's okay if it's a no. Now I don't even know if, and I've always felt this, if that is in the cards for me. I know love and relationships, it's always in the cards for me. What's not to love? Okay? What's not to love? But my life is made by me. It's not made by whatever society says. Ideally, I have a home base, but I have homes all over the world, and I kind of gallivant, and I do this, and I do that, and I speak, and I have this thing, and I have that. It's just for me. I love children. I do. I just haven't had the setup to bring forth any of my own. Um, Hold on. I love this eye pencil. See? This is why I love this eye pencil. This eye pencil, remember I was saying I invest in certain pieces, well, that's with clothing as well, but makeup pieces, makeup items. This pencil is brown, it is called the perfect brown for a reason, because a black liner is great, but I love a deep brown liner that is soft enough to put on, but it stays. I don't even have to do all of that. I just perfect. Perfect jade. Perfect. Yeah, we did it. We did it. We finished it. Okay, I'm gonna curl my lashes and put on my mascara, and then that's it. Going away for the weekend. I have to do my airport meditation because when I go to the airport, I still have this anxiousness that arises sometimes. Maybe it's just excitement, but I'll probably make a piece of content while I'm there. Um, Going to the airport for me isn't like anyone else. There's so much that's connected to the airport because I was used to it being, um, my place of work, my place of fun, seeing my friends, all of that. So when I just even envision or start putting my stuff in the car to go, um yeah, I hope to see you on your live tomorrow because I'm gonna get off my live now too. We've finished our look, which was very nice, but I have to, like, prepare myself for the airport. So, Jade, I will see you. I'm going to end the live so I can put all my bags together, get my stuff together, and it was really cool. Thank you for jumping in the live, and I will see you next time.